What's up guys, Amar here from Magic Coding, and in this video we're gonna add some shakes to our camera, or actually even some camera transitions, so we make our game a bit more fun because we did the blueprint, the actual skeleton of the game. Now we're going a bit more in details. So as for that, we'll go ahead and create a C# script in our script, then gameplay script. Right click, go to create C# script, and we'll call this camera, so camera like this, transitions. After we have done that, we're gonna create an empty game object. So right click, create an empty game object, and we're gonna call this our camera container. So reset its position and call this camera container. So, okay, that's right. Z will be -10, and we're gonna add our main camera to it. And that will be it. Next off, we're gonna open up our camera transitions in Visual Studio or Mono Develop, depending on what are you using. Delete the comments, and we can start coding some variables. First of them will be our private transform, so private transform camera container like this. Then we're gonna have our private float rotate semi amount, so like this, which will be equal to 4. And then if you want to change later on, you can have private float rotate amount and change it, but I'm gonna use only rotate semi amount. You will see what I mean later on. Then we're gonna have our private float shake amount. And then we're gonna have our private vector 3, which will be our starting local position, just like that. Now inside of our start function, we're gonna say that our camera container equals to game, so equals to game object dot find, and we're searching for the camera container. So I'm just gonna copy this, paste it over, and add capital C dot transform. Then in our update function, we're gonna check if our shake amount is greater than 0.01 float. If that is true, we're gonna proceed by saying that our vector 3 local position equals to starting local position. If that is true, then we're gonna say that our local position dot x equals to, or actually plus equals to, shake amount, then multiply that by random dot range from 3 to 5. Now we're going to copy this and do the same thing for our local position dot y. So to do that, just change from x to y. And then we're going to say that our transform dot local position equals to local position, which is actually this position here. And last but not least, we're gonna say that our shake amount equals to 0.9f, and then multiply that by the shake amount itself. And what are these? These are some calculations that I have tested and run through. You can change the numbers around, you can change this or that and see what is working. But you will not change the script itself or the code. You can just change the numbers, or so you can see how much shake are you getting. Next off, we're gonna have our public void shake. So we're gonna shake and have public void medium shake. So this is gonna be small shake, medium shake, and if you want to, you can create a big shake. Now, as for the small shake, we're gonna say shake amount equals to matf, so matf dot minimum, which will return the smallest of two values, as you can see, which will be from 0.9f to our shake amount, and then plus 0.1f, actually float. Next off will be our medium shake, where I'm just going to copy this and add more shake to it by saying not minus, but 0.15f, and then shake amount plus 0.015f. If you want to do a big shake, you will just say the shake amount equals to 1, and that will be it. Next off, we're gonna add our transitions, but before we do that, we're gonna test our shake. To do that, of course, you're gonna go to shoot script first, and you're gonna find where are we shooting. Or actually, no, we're gonna go to block, and then we're gonna check where is our ball getting hit and destroyed. When it gets destroyed, we're gonna say that our camera.main.getComponents, get component, and we're getting its camera transitions. Then dot medium shake. So we're going to have a medium shake when we destroy our block, and we're going to have a small shake when we hit the block. And probably that will be it for our shake. I mean, where could else we put it? Nah, alright, great, that will be it. So let's go back to Unity and test it out. So if we hit the ball, or the block, we will shake it, and of course we will have null reference expression, which is camera. Okay, my bad. I forgot to add our camera transition, to our main camera. So if you want scripts to be called from a code, you will have to implement it. So if we hit it, and still again we have the same problem. And that could mean only one thing, which will be to change our main camera to our main camera tag. And then not to change main camera, but to change its tag. Now we will have no problems at all. So let me go ahead and touch the block, and as you can see, we are having a shake, which was a bit too much when we destroyed it for the first time. Let me try one more time. Maybe that was a bug. So, like, it moved by a lot. As you can see, it's moving by a lot, which should not happen at all. Or actually, let me check. Our main camera will be at 0. And that was the problem, why it moved by too much. So let me check one more time. And yeah, that will be it. So this is actually how we are gonna shake our camera. Now moving on with our camera transitions, we're gonna add a transition where when we shoot, we're gonna move it to the side, and when we change our level, we're gonna go back to normal. To do that, we're gonna add two functions, which will be our public void rotate camera to side, not like this, but to come on. I just want to change something. So camera, and inside we are gonna have our RI enumerator. But before we do that, we're gonna add one more function, which will be our public void rotate camera. So I'm gonna copy it, not to side, but to front, just like this. And now we're gonna have our I enumerator. So I enumerator, which we're gonna call rotate camera to side. So rotate camera to side, rotate. And there we're gonna start by having our int frames. So int frames, which will be equal to 20. Then we're gonna have our float increment, which will be equal to our rotate semi amount divided by our frames, but we're gonna have our float frames casted as frames, just like this. Then we're gonna use our frames for the length, so frames. And then inside of the loop, we're gonna say that our camera container dot rotate around, and we're gonna rotate by vector 3.0. Then float angle will be vector 3.up. As for the z, it will be our increment, which is this calculation. And then here we're gonna add our yield return null when we finish. And when everything is done, we're going to just call yield break. So we can break out of the enumerator. So what's happening? So we're creating our frames to be 20. So it's going to be done in 20 frames. Our increment is how much are we going to move it? So we're going to move it by semi amount. So if you change the semi amount, you're going to move it a bit more. And then we're going to loop our for, so we're going to loop it with our frames. So in 20 frames, that's how in, not how many seconds, but actually how many frames we're going to move. If you put like 1000 frames, it's going to take a while, but we're going to have 20 frames. And then after that is done, we're going to go back to null. Now for our rotate to front, so we're going to copy this. It's going to be a bit like not the same, but a bit different, but the same idea, front. Our frames will be 60. Our increment will stay the same, but it will not be, or actually it will stay the semi amount. We want to move to the front same as we moved as for our semi amount. As for the loop, it will stay the same, except we're going to go into the minus. So it's going to be, we're going back to where we started. And lastly, when we finish our loop, we're going to call our camera container dot local arrow angles. I don't know how to spell this. Euler, I think I got it right. Euler angles equals to new vector 3, which will be 0, 0, 0, and that will be it. Now we're just gonna add our start coroutine to rotate to side. So rotate to side for our side and rotate to front. So start coroutine, and we're gonna rotate to front. So rotate camera to front routine, just like this. Now go back to our game controller, where we're gonna have our side. So we're gonna go back to our spawn level. Whenever we spawn level, we're gonna go back to normal, and here we're gonna say that our camera.main.get component. So get component, and we're getting its camera transitions, then open parentheses, then rotate camera to front, just like this. But when we shoot, we are gonna have our camera moved. So let's go, where do we shoot? In our shoot script. So whenever we shoot, is it here? Whenever we shoot, we're gonna have our camera.main.get component, getting its camera transitions, and then rotate to side, rotate to side. So right now we will encourage at one problem, which is whenever we shoot, we're gonna rotate a bit, and that will be later fixed because we're gonna only move once or twice. So as you can see, when I do it, as you can see, we move it like right now, but if I go again, we're gonna move it again. And when I go ahead and move it one more time, it's gonna move one more time. And now, whenever, as I said, we shoot, we're gonna move to this side. And right now, it's not really enough to go back. And here we have one more problem, which is we're going back to 0. Like with our main camera, I think it was. Let me check one more time. Is it our main camera? We're going back. And yeah, that will be it. So let me try one more time. Destroy everything. Come on. And back. So yeah, that will be it. So this is how our camera transition will work. So yeah guys, that will be it for this video. I'm Amar, hope you like it, and I will see you guys in the next video.